The first thing you need to know about these people is that they are so predictable, but you're not going to detect that at the beginning. Now, the topic at hand is this: the bad guys who like to harass and take advantage of those of us who are autistic. They see us, as we say many times, as low hanging fruit, as the wounded gazelle, and they are ready to pounce. So let's take a look at these 12 things. And I got to tell you, at the very end, this is important. We're going to tie all this together to make sense of it. So hang in there. So they are predictable, but at the very beginning, you don't know they are predictable because they intentionally try to come across as kind of like your best friend. You know, when these people are determined, they're going to take advantage of you. Now, not all of them. There are exceptions. Well, there are a lot of exceptions, but this is a specific type of individual. We'll get to that in just a moment, but they first begin to love bomb you. Now, if it's a intimate, romantic type of relationship, they will come at it from that angle. If it's a friendship, they'll come at it from that angle. But the idea is they want to take advantage of you, but first they want to win your confidence. We mentioned this in another video. That's why they call them con men, because they're trying to win your confidence. But we could also say maybe they're con men because they're controlling. So they want to get your confidence so they can control you. So they are double con men or con women. They're going to eventually take advantage of you through scheming and scamming, and then ultimately will be the smear campaign. Now that's the pattern. So at the very beginning, you're not going to see this, but it's very predictable. And I have seen this over my 70 plus years, time and time again. And one of the reasons I make these videos is, you know, I've been there. And I want to share with others what I've experienced. So they're predictable, and here's the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, love bombing. 2, they start being controlling, then very controlling. Number 3, they then start taking advantage of you, scheming and scamming. And then number 4, full-blown smear campaign, and that is after they have discarded you and have abandoned you. But it actually begins before that. So number 1 is they're predictable, but you can't see the pattern at the very onset. Number 2 is everything, and I do mean everything, revolves around them. And again, they don't show this at the very beginning, but it becomes obvious in time. Depends on the individual that you're dealing with, but they have to be the center. It's not just the center of attention, but it's the center of controlling, as we said before. But these people view themselves as smarter than you and everyone else. Now, seldom do they just come out and say it, I'm smarter, but you can tell that's their attitude. Whatever car they happen to be driving, it doesn't matter. It could be a Volkswagen, it could be a Rolls Royce, or anything in between, or a Prius. But they can tell you why that is the best car on the planet. Well, the truth is because it's their car. You know, that's just the way that they see the world, and they see themselves as players. That is to say, they play socially with other people, which is what goes on in the hive mind all the time. But these people seem to think themselves as kind of the queen bee, even though they're just a drone, they're just a working bee, but they don't see it that way. They see all the other bees in the hive mind as their drones. But you're outside the hive mind if you are autistic. And so you are particularly vulnerable. Yeah, they like to control you because you're easy to control, and that just reaffirms to them that they're players. They're very good at controlling, at least in their opinion. And everything has to be their way, even when it's obvious that they're wrong, because it's not about doing things the right way, it's about doing things their way. It's not about getting the job done. It's the job to be done is they be in control. That everyone admires their wonderfulness and nobody ever questions them. So everything revolves around them. So we have 2 things. First of all, they're predictable. Those 4 things we talked about. Number 2 is everything revolves around them. And number 3, here's where the tell begins to show itself. You start feeling like, is this guy pulling my strings? I'm being a little bit manipulated here. I feel like maybe I don't mind, being in control sometimes, but also don't mind being controlled sometimes, but this guy wants to be in control all the time, or this girl, whatever it is. So you feel like you're being pushed into making choices that otherwise you would not make. This person is making choices for you, and they see themselves as being masters at manipulating you, but these don't match up with things that you believe in or things that you would normally do. And you start going along with them, and you're not sure why. And they begin using what I would call emotional games to control you and other people. They will be kind to you, but they might be a little bit controlling, and you want their kindness, so they will be kind to you so that you will keep allowing them to control you. And I got to say, eventually, when they stop being kind to you, that's probably a good sign. Number 4 is this: after having that feeling of being manipulated, they begin to bully you through intimidation. So now the pressure really heats up, and it's becoming more and more obvious this person is taking advantage of you. So they want you to fear consequences. Now, again, this is based on my experience with these people. They want you to fear consequences, and when I first encountered this, it occurred to me that why do they want me to fear consequences? And I understood that this was a form of projection. It's because they fear consequences, and they just assume that you fear the same thing they do. That's very typical of all of us. We expect, theory of mind. We just assume that other people feel and think the way that we do. And these people are no different. So they want you to fear consequences, so they're going to let you know if you don't do this, this is going to happen. Now, they may not say it in those terms, but they may let you know that they have the phone number of the person that you had a problem with. And I've actually had people do that to me before. I got this guy's phone number. I may give him a call. Oh, no, don't do that. That's what they're thinking that I'm thinking. But that wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking, go ahead, call him. I don't care. But they want you to feel, this is the reason they do that, is they want you to feel like you're helpless. They want you to feel like you are in control. They want you to feel like you are the horse with the bit in his mouth, and you have no choice. You're the puppet, and you have no choice but to do what the puppet master wants you to do. Number 5 is zero empathy. That is to say, they just don't care about you. Now, you find yourself in that position. This is my best friend. This is my love interest. Whatever it is. Now what? They don't really care. Was I being deceived? I mean, you see the light coming on. We talk about subliminal and liminal in another video. This is where it's no longer just the wee hours of the morning, but the sun is starting to rise, and now you're starting to see things really clear. And what you're seeing is this person that I thought was my good friend or my love interest is really not caring about me at all. They're caring about them. So the weight is now shifted. Number 6 is something else you notice about these people, or I have noticed about these people, is they are consistently unreliable. And I thought for a while, I wonder why that is. And it's because they're self-centered. So you can't depend on them to do what they should be doing or should be with the way they should be behaving or thinking, because what they are thinking is what's best for them. And that's what they do, whatever is best for them. So if not showing up is best for them, they're not going to show up. If leaving early is best for them because they feel like it, they'll leave early. If not doing their job is best for them, maybe in the long run it's not. But these people don't think in the long run. I probably should have added that as number 13, but I forgot to add it. But they don't think long term, so we'll just throw it in this. But they are consistently unreliable. Number 7 is they have a history. Now I'm saying a lifetime history of dishonesty. They just cannot be honest. They do not want to be honest. They have this pattern of deceitfulness their whole life. Their life is deceitful. Their whole life is a sham. It's all, it's all make-believe. It's all pretend. These people do some really bizarre things. In extreme cases, I've seen where these people would even go to the extent of pretending that they're in like the Secret Service or whatever, or maybe they've been associated with the CIA or some other secret organization that's so secret that nobody knows anything about it. And the reason they didn't show up the other night, or the reason they can't meet this appointment, and this is just between me and you, they're saying, is they've got a conference or they got to talk to somebody in their organization, or however they put it. Now, those are kind of extreme cases, but yeah, that happens, and you would be surprised how often that happens. But they are constantly dishonest. And if you were to trace back as till they were, toddlers, they learned. Well, they didn't learn. I think it's innate. I think it's a neurological condition that is dishonest. That's called pathological dishonesty or pathological lying. And they are liars. Okay, there's number 14. Number 8 is they always have, at least the ones that I've dealt with, they always have a backup story. There's something they fall back on to explain why the way that they are. They are the way they are because. And I've noticed some of these people, they have conspiracy theories. I mean, everyone has conspiracy theories. We don't know, but we suspect this is what's going on. But these people sometimes, not always, but sometimes will take it to a whole new level. Why are you the way that you are? Well, I'll tell you why I am. And I had one guy who was like this, and he didn't have a driver's license. And I found out later the reason he didn't have a driver's license was because he didn't show up to a court appearance, and the judge took away his driving privileges. But that wasn't his story. His story was that, you see, he's taken a stand against the New World Order. Ties in with a conspiracy theory. And he doesn't want to have a driver's license because, then he would be participating in this back current, this conspiracy to destroy, to take over the world, the New World Order. Now, that kind of stinks as a backup story, but you know what? I didn't believe his story for a second, but I believed he believed it. And that was enough to hide the truth that he didn't have a driver's license because he didn't show up to court. So it didn't matter if I believed his story. It mattered that I believed that he believed his story. Number 9 is they take what I would call a morbid pleasure. Maybe there's a better word than morbid, but they take a morbid pleasure when other people hurt, when other people are disappointed, when other people face misfortunes in their life. They take extreme pleasure when they should be hurting along with you if they're true friends or true loved ones. They don't. They do just the opposite. They actually kind of get giddy about the fact that you've been hurt. I recall one time somebody bought a television for me, and after they bought it, I realized the money they gave me was counterfeit. And this one guy, he kind of laughed about it, and he told everyone else. He took pleasure in the fact that I got ripped off. And if I had an accident, and I did, I fell off a ladder, had brain surgery, and this guy was he was giddy about it, and he told everybody. He took pleasure in my unfortune. Now, what that says is that he lacks compassion, he lacks empathy. And that is something we talked about before, So you got to watch out for this. Number 10 is they try to isolate you. Now, this is occurring all along, but when you begin to get to the end of the relationship, and this person who is taking advantage of you starts to sense that he or she is losing you, then they want to isolate you. And again, they've been doing this all along, but now they're going to step it up. That is to say, what they want to do is they want you to not have other friends because you will influence those other friends, or inform, I should say, those other friends about this person. But if you don't have friends, that's kind of a self-protection technique. So they want to isolate you from others. Well, how do they do that? Well, they project on you. They take their flaws and they project on you. You are the liar. You are the one who is arrogant. You are the one who is not reliable. And they will convince other people. And usually these things are not really specific because they don't have specifics. I can't even say specific, but they don't have specifics. So they just, in general, you're just arrogant. In general, you're not reliable. They never use the word in general, but they're getting the thought across. And what happens is you notice that people that were your friends now not talking to you. Wow, what happened there? You don't know. It's because this guy, this person, this girl, woman, whatever, has been going behind your back, isolating you. Number 11, that was number 10. Number 11 is they refuse to acknowledge anybody's boundaries. Laws of the land are optional for them. That's why he got his driver's license taken away, because court appearance, that's optional. That's a boundary. He doesn't have to abide by it. Driving without a license, who needs a license? Part of the world conspiracy, So they try to isolate you, and then they refuse to acknowledge anybody's boundaries, including your boundaries. These are the type of people just walk in your house without knocking the door. They'll borrow something from you without asking. They will invade your privacy. They will show any kind of respect for you whatsoever. They just lack respect for you as a person, as an individual. And the one that is really telling to me is they love to belittle you behind your back, but they also like to belittle you in front of you, to shame you in front of you and in front of others. Why? Because they are signaling to others that they are in control of you. It's kind of a slave master thing. They're really proud of it. The fact that they're controlling you, you've probably seen this at the workplace, maybe at school, that there's one of the reasons people bully other people. Why do they do that? Why do they bully other people? Well, it's not just for self-satisfaction of controlling you, but they want to show others that they are controlling you. So they're not going to recognize your boundaries. This is a signature of a bully. Okay, we're about to tie all this together. Number 12 is they are implacable. That is to say, or implacable if you prefer. That is to say, they can't be pleased. No matter what you do, no matter what you say, doesn't meet their high expectations. If you say something, you said the wrong thing. If you say nothing at all, you should have said something. If you do something, you did the wrong thing or you did it the wrong way. If you did nothing, you should have done something. I mean, you just cannot escape it. Why is that? Because, well, let's tie all this together. You ready? It's because these people are narcissists. It's all about them. Narcissism. They are probably also psychopathic. Typically, anyone who is a psychopath is typically also a narcissist. I don't know that all narcissists are psychopaths. I mean, there are two entirely different sets of traits, but it seems like that they're typically comorbid, where you find one, you find the other, a few exceptions, but not very many. So what are we describing here? We're saying, hey, you've got a narcissist in your life, and their whole strategy is to, at the very onset, do that love bombing thing, be sneaky, sneak up on you. Now here's the problem, and you got to pay close attention to this, is just because somebody is nice to you doesn't mean they're love bombing. Could be they just want to be nice. And the narcissist knows that. So they take advantage of people who have autism because we're easy to take advantage of, and they like to showcase us. They like to show to others that they are controlling us and that they are controllers. Thing to do is get away from them. Best you can. Sometimes you can't, but they call it going gray rock. Break off. What I do is I don't even talk to these people if I can possibly get away with it. Sometimes they're in your family. You can't do that. Sometimes you have to go to work with these people and you see them at work and you have to interact with them, but if at all possible, get away from them. That is the advice that I have for me. I don't give advice to other people. I just tell you where I'm coming from. You can take it with a grain of salt in what you're taking it. If you got something out of this video, join our family. Become a subscriber to our YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it on social media. And we will see you all next time.